Welcome to the Let's Get Old podcast where we go deeper than the average person in order to find the truth around subjects, their discussions. I'd like to basically create this as a space where we could talk about things or talk about things that people don't usually talk about, or talk about things that talk about things in ways that people don't talk about. This is your space to go deep, to leave judgment behind, and to truly explore some awesome subjects. Welcome to Let's Get Old.
Let's get old. Let's get old. Let's get old.
What's up, guys? Working on that intro, huh? I'm for all you guys watching and listening, I'm doing these live, including the intros. So just trying to reduce friction. If I had to do a lot of things, perhaps I wouldn't do it. In fact, if you guys watched the first episode or listen, you would know that I have been sitting on this concept for about 5 years now. So I've at least been sitting on the intro for 5 years. So maybe been sitting on the concept for a little longer. So that's a good example of sitting on ideas. So anyways, guys, I want to talk today about how to come up with $1 million ideas. Now, I've definitely come up with ideas that have generated over $1 million. And even if it's not like a business idea, it's a marketing idea. I'm talking, this isn't just for what ideas to turn a $1 million business. It's more like if you think of $1 million idea as a big lever, right? So or a big domino. And these are things that when we pull these levers or we push these dominoes down, many things happen. In business, we call it, like a good word for this is optimizing. Minimum effort in, maximum out. And ideas are the antithesis of the potential of optimizing something. It's a small thing you can do now, or it doesn't take a lot of time. And if it's the right idea, then that right idea could bring windfalls. There's examples of this. A quick example I'll give right now is, I forgot what the guy's name is. If you guys know the name of the guy who did this, please put it below. But he's very famous for taking internet documents who are already free, packaging up, and selling them. And he's made tens of millions of dollars doing it. Now, these documents were already free, but he understood and had the idea that if they were all in one place, that they would be somehow easier and worth paying a few bucks for. And he was right. And that was an idea that served him really well. Now, when I come up with my ideas, this is basically going to be me sharing how I come up with my ideas. Basically what I'll do is first I'll see it. I mean, I don't come up with ideas because for any other reason than I see it working. I see a world where it works. So I guess the first part of that is, your ideas should really, in my opinion, stem from feeling them and seeing them. Okay, so you got to feel that idea works and you got to see it. And then what I do is I spend maybe, and you can replace the numbers here, but I spend maybe 10 minutes to an hour developing it out in my mind. Someone who did this really well was Nikola Tesla. And he holds, I think, hundreds of patents and is the reason that we all have computers and a lot of the things we have today. The alternating current was his kind of foundational discovery, but he's discovered a lot of other things as well. Anyways, he was a guy that would sit and spend years developing things out in his mind before he built anything. And the reason he did that, A, was because that was just the most efficient to him. But B, because it would cut costs. It would actually save time. So while other people spend money on an idea that's not formed and they try to build it and they try to figure it out physically in the physical realm, he was somebody who took to his visionary and intuitive sides and would open himself up to basically having the responsibility of building it in his mind. And because of this, once it was built in his mind, he was able to quickly manufacture it. And it's not that it was perfect every time and it worked right away, but it was, it was basically built out and he just had to troubleshoot. So I guess the strategy that I use that I don't even know that I'm using, I just caught myself using it and thought I should talk about it, and I started making all these connections, was, when I come up with an idea, again, I see it, I feel it. If I feel it, what I'll do is I'll open up a new notes on my phone or a Google Doc or notes on my computer, and I'll just write down, like a little bit about the idea. So, for example, I've been thinking a lot about the audience I want to help with my next program. And the next program, I'm going to introduce kind of like a new marketing system, a new way to market. And I was thinking, like, what kind of people do I want in this program? And I have this concept for white dollar businesses. Now, I came up with a concept for green dollar businesses inside my mastermind for one of my students. So I'm not necessarily going to run with this, but I came up with the idea for white dollar businesses, and I started writing down what that meant for me. First, I said it, and I was like, do I like the feeling of this? Am I willing to go on stage and say, this presentation is designed for people with white dollar businesses? And I thought about it, and I said, yeah, I think that's intriguing, and I think I can come up with a reason it's called that. So I started writing down a little bit, and I was like, white dollar businesses are businesses that are purpose-driven, positive purpose-driven. And then I started thinking of the next thing, and I was like, and then I just went on to the next idea, or not next idea, but I went on to my next task. And I was thinking there for a second, I'm like, okay, is this idea the right idea? And I remembered to myself that I believe in one thing, and that's ideas that stick, okay? So instead of just spending all your time on an idea, what I'd recommend is developing it out just enough to where you understand the feel of it and kind of understand the purpose of the idea, and then set it aside and see if you come back to it. There was a movie I watched the other night called The Founder, and it was about the kind of quote unquote founder of McDonald's. He didn't actually find it, but the story is about this guy who basically nudged his way into the McDonald's business, the original one, convinced them to franchise, and then built an empire, and then built another empire, a real estate empire, that was able to make him way more than McDonald's ever made him. It was an amazing concept. And basically, in the beginning of the movie, this guy who ends up being the founder is like selling all these different things. In the beginning, he sells like a multi-mixer for like milkshakes, so you can make multiple milkshakes at once. And he sells all these things, and he's selling, and it becomes very apparent when you watch the movie that he's done this a lot. He jumps on new ideas all the time. But when he meets McDonald's, he has this amazing feeling like, I need to get in this business. And he keeps driving back all the way to San Bernardino, California. And it's because the idea stuck, right? Because he chased down the idea just enough for him to understand so that he understood it. So he went to that McDonald's and he had a burger and he had the experience. And then he went back and he just couldn't stop. And I think all of us can relate to a time in our lives where we've had an idea that just kept bringing us back. Well, those are the good ideas. Those are the $1 million ideas, the ideas that stick. So, when you're coming up with your ideas, I really recommend to not pretty much try too hard on any one idea up front. Think it out, make sure it crosses all the boxes, and then set it aside for an hour, a day, 2 days, a week, or whatever, and see if it sticks with you. And this podcast is an idea that stuck. It may not seem like it because it took so long for me to make it and to finally get in front of you guys, but at the same end, who knows what this idea can do? And my dog, if you're watching the video podcast, has my pants, so I should probably go get that. So moving forward, guys, I hope you get something from that, because ideas, this is where I'll get into my beliefs. I believe they're sacred. I believe we're supposed to come up with certain ideas and flow with certain things and commit to certain things at certain times. I believe information and insight are not just given to us. I don't like that dynamic. I'm more like we can access it. We've gotten to a point in our lives where we've been able to activate or become open to certain things that were already there, and time lined up. Like, how many times would an idea not have worked if it wasn't the perfect timing, right? So time and circumstance definitely play a role into this. And I believe all of us have had those times where we come up with the right idea at the right time that we wouldn't have been ready until that moment. And those ideas just stick with us. And because of that, we're able to have the basic perseverance and commitment to go through those ideas. So, this lesson and this Let's Get Old episode is all about having those ideas as a standard for the ideas that you execute. To not just go with everything and jump on any idea too quick, but to strictly only find ideas that stick. Okay, ideas that feel right, ideas that keep coming back, and that make sense. Okay, hope that helps. Please, guys, put your comments below if you're enjoying this. If you'd like to see any kind of subject, just you want to speak on anything in the world that you feel like isn't being spoken about in a non-surface level kind of way, or you feel like the way people are addressing things are a little too emotional, let's go ahead and talk about it. Comment below your thoughts. Please like this video, hit subscribe, and I will see you on the next Let's Get Old. Thanks for going deep, guys.